Drivers, start your engines!
This is MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. One full hour of news, interviews, and opinion about the past weekend's racing action. Brought to you by Hercules Tires.
Pace car is up.
Now, here are your hosts, Woody Kane and Joey Meyer.
Green flag, green flag.
Checkered flag, times 2 for two-spotter. Hello again, welcome to Motorsports Monday. I'm Woody Kane, joined by Joey Meyer. Two-spotter, 2 wins back-to-back, and our special guests are the trophy from Kentucky Motor Speedway. I was really hoping for a jukebox.
Well, the jukebox is a little bit big. It actually got back
Wouldn't fit in your truck, would it?
It got back on the hauler. Bama and his cohort got to bring it back to our hometown here in Mooresville, North Carolina, but they gave us a really cool Crosley jukebox.
Yeah,
from a team. And
does it come loaded with music already?
Loaded with music. It's an unusual opportunity to put together a local Louisville-based company and the racetrack.
Yeah.
This is actually the race team trophy from Kentucky Speedway, which is really cool. As we ran around the weekend, I was
These are like Flat Stanley. It was showing up everywhere.
Yeah, we did a little thing on Twitter and just had them going around. And the latest one that I should have done is My Little Pony. I got that in from I got from somebody on Twitter today. Said it should have been a My Little Pony, but
yeah.
Why the long face? It was a heck of a race.
There you go.
We actually won and lost that race 5 different times in the last 20 or 30 laps when we saw different strategies playing out. And we didn't plan with 71 to go. Didn't even think about it being a fuel mileage race.
Yeah.
Because we felt our car was fast enough and the guys we were racing were fast enough with the 4 and the 78 and the 20 and the 18. That was going to be a really good race.
Mm-hmm.
And things just played out. Certain races we go to, some road courses and some Michigan races, you plan on fuel mileage and you work them backwards.
Mm-hmm.
This wasn't one of those. This just turned into a random fuel mileage race because even after a couple of cars started to pit and kind of forced our hand to pit,
yep,
we converted it into a fuel mileage race.
And you said, oh, no, we're not.
Yeah, we're not pitting. Some of the guys in the back started that last 70-lap run immediately saving gas. And that allowed the 78 to kind of get through the field very economically to gain. And he still had to pit
after a penalty, which we'll talk a little bit more about later.
But then the 4 and the 78 and the 20 and the 18, those guys peeled off, and Brad just kept chugging along. Man, the little engine that could did a really good job being efficient to kind of back up something 3 or 4 weeks ago I thought was very interesting. Jeff Gordon made mention that Brad Keselowski is one of the better drivers on the circuit, and I think he may have said the best driver, being able to go fast efficiently.
Mm-hmm.
So when you're saving gas, he still can have speed, and he actually was saving gas the whole time while we were out front. We led a number of laps by a large margin. But we ended up having a 12, 13-second lead there at the end that Carl Edwards, after he saved his gas, was able to run us down, got to the right rear corner, I believe coming to the white flag, if not the checker flag, and then the car refired after Brad thought it ran out of gas for the last time.
And said so over the
yes,
radio,
he did.
And a lot of people were going nuts about that.
Yep. So
he's out of gas.
We were out of gas.
Yeah.
We were out of gas, but due to an anomaly in the EFI system, the EFI system in your car actually
electronic fuel injection.
Yep, actually pushes more fuel to your engine than it needs. So it means there's a return line. Well, your engine isn't burning that gas in the return line. It has to wait for it to get back to the engine.
Recycle through.
And that's exactly how that works. So your engine will run and not run and then run and not run based on the amount of fuel that's circulating in those lines, and that's exactly how we were able to get back around. It wasn't running at full steam by any means. We were down a little bit, but able to just stay in front of the 19 car. The most emotional win I've had in a long time. It's the 3rd time that I can remember. We won a last lap pass with Martin Truex at Nazareth. Of course, we won a California last lap pass last year in California to lead the only lap. And then this victory here, we won, we lost, we won, we lost, and we won. It was 5 things happening
all
in
the same race.
Yeah, in the last 20 laps.
Yeah.
So it was pretty interesting, very interesting event.
All right, want to welcome everyone to the show and thank the folks who helped make it possible for us. Hercules Tire, of course, little Hercules guy right here, and Joey from Outback, the Joey menu. Not named after him, even though it's a kid's menu. He thinks it's named after him. It's not. But don't forget to race into Outback Steakhouse today for a free That's free bloomin' onion because Kevin Harvick finished in the top 10. Outback Steakhouse done right. Check out those lunch specials starting at $6.99. Check out the new app they've got. You can order. You can divide up your check. You can claim your seat before you even get there. And don't forget about as well that new center cut sirloin, which Joey hasn't tried yet, but we're going to get him in there and try it very soon. It's fantastic.
It's a free blooming onion.
It's a free bloomin' onion.
Just
right.
go get the
right.
free blooming onion.
Right. Absolutely. Just say, I want one, Kevin
And
Harvick,
a glass,
give it here.
And a glass of water.
Yeah. Whatever you got to do.
That's
Whatever makes it work for you.
Tip your waitresses very nicely, but get your free bloomin' onion.
Absolutely. Coming up on the show as well, we'll have Greg Biffle on 2 straight top 10 finishes for the number 16 Ford, and Brennan Poole will join us a little bit later on as well from the Xfinity Series. Another top 10 for him. He's top 10 in the standings as well, so an action-packed full show. But let's kick it off by hearing what the winner had to say after his victory at Kentucky Speedway Saturday night.
New pavement, new lower downforce package. How on edge were you guys out there tonight for 400 miles?
Yeah, that's about as edge on edge you can get there, Kyle. The track's very slick. Kind of one group, but it was trying to open up, and then the rules package just feeds right into that. And boy, we saw a lot of action tonight, a lot of wrecks. But you know what? This is professional racing, and it shouldn't be easy. It wasn't easy tonight, and everybody that made it through tonight certainly earned it.
Without giving your secrets away, Paul Wolf said you're one of the best when it comes to saving fuel. How difficult is saving fuel over 70 laps?
Oh, it's difficult. Honestly, I didn't think I did a very good job at it tonight. Carl ran us down from ways back, and I was kind of disappointed in myself, but did just good enough to win the race.
Earlier this weekend, you said team's about as good as it's ever been.
I just got a lot of confidence in where we're at as a group. We certainly weren't the fastest car tonight. We need to have a little more speed for sure, but we're executing at a very high level, and that's so important.
There you go, Brad Keselowski, the winner, talking with our Kyle Rickey at Kentucky. 2 things jump out at me there. One is this is not a replica. This is the trophy that was in Victory Lane, and you can see some champagne droplets that are still on here. It's kind of sticky at this point, so some authenticity there. The other thing that jumped out at me is Brad talking about putting it all together. I remember earlier in the season you saying at one point, we're not quite where we want to be yet. We don't feel like we have the speed that we have had in the past or that we need for this year. What's changed?
You know, it's an evolution. When you're successful, one of the hardest and most difficult themes as a race team goes is trying to change to get better. Mm-hmm. You're always wanting to take something. If you're working on this bottle, you're going to massage it and make it smoother. Mm-hmm. Other teams are changing the shape of the bottle. So you're working on this bottle, making it better, and you're getting a very nice bottle, and then you look out of the corner of your eye, there's a better bottle. You're like,
wait a minute.
Another bottle? And that's exactly where race teams are always going. We see it on a larger size scale in the Xfinity Series with our Xfinity program. We are not a top tier team, top second team. We're a third, fourth, fifth place car because we started doing and continually. We've won the last 3 owners' championships, a drivers' championship in 2010. We were doing something very good. And when you're doing something and you're successful, it's hard to change that skew of things and go in a different direction.
Well, the change there hasn't been as stark as it has in the Cup Series
Correct.
with the new package, but still people are working hard to get better every day.
No, the teams that are running bad are working just as hard on their cars to make them fast as the teams that are being successfully running good. It's just a direction. Everybody's going down these highways, these interstates, these networks of roads to work on their cars. It wasn't like we just woke up and said, hey, we need to start working harder. But like Brad said, we still had a little bit of speed. And after the race, he said after the race there, he didn't think we were as fast. But then because he really thought Truex was super fast, not realizing that the fuel mileage gain was helping Truex get to the field. We had really good speed. I think if we go back and look, we ran a 29 flat second lap in that last run, the fastest lap of the race of any car.
Yeah.
We had some decent speed. Do we need to get faster? We always need to get faster by any means. But we're definitely executing well. Him and Paul and our pit crews are good. Everything is just working and clicking along. We're not making any mistakes. We've seen years we've had pit road speeding penalties or just bad issues, and we're seeing that with other teams.
Yeah.
The 88's notorious for making some mistakes. The Truex team got
they
caught
have a big one.
Big
We'll talk
mistake
more
this
about
weekend.
that later. Yeah.
Exactly. So those are the things that we're not doing. And when you're not making those mistakes and you're performing at, say, 95%, it's hard to beat.
Yeah, it's a recipe that all has to come together perfectly to make the dish taste great. 2 straight wins for the 2 team. Big show coming up for you now. We've got Brennan Poole from the Xfinity Series coming up a little bit later on track, off track. You won't believe what Joey's going to tell you there. And on the other side of the break, Greg Biffle will join us after his second straight top 10. Stick around, everyone.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. 1 per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
Ever wish your kid came with an instruction manual? I'm behavioral therapist James Lehman, and I'll show you how to change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation, the program that helps stop defiance, backtalking, lying, acting out in school, even problems with ADD and ADHD. There's no screaming, no fighting, no frustration. Your child will listen to you again. I guarantee it.
Change your child's behavior now with the Total Transformation. Call now. 1-800-406-2945. 1-800-406-2945.
Ready to take the training wheels off your race scanner? Go to fanvision.com and upgrade your experience with FanVision. Not only will you be able to hear the race,
Dale Earnhardt Jr. gets a good run, drafting help from Kyle Busch and Kevin Harvick. Jr. again pulls up alongside for the race lead.
you'll see every moment through live video, instant replays, live stats, and more.
Hi, I'm Jamie McMurray, driver of the #1 Cessna Chevrolet, and I never go to the track without my FanVision. So go to fanvision.com to rent or buy yours today.
Hey, I'm Casey Kane. Now back to Joey Meyer and Woody Kane on Motorsports Monday.
Really, the action in all 3 of the events this weekend, I thought, for a repave, it turned out really well, and we had a lot of action, like Brad said, a little dicey getting down in there into turn 3 on the restarts especially, and I think the low downforce package, if that's what we're calling it now, helped at this race on the repave, and I think the corner speeds would have been extremely high, and with the higher downforce stepping out of the groove might have even had more consequences than we had tonight. So I think all in all, it was a great weekend here at Kentucky Speedway.
That's Scott Miller, NASCAR's Senior Vice President for Competition, talking about the new even lower downforce package that we've used for the second time now, or low. Yeah, or 2.5 times if you count what we used in the All-Star race, which is a little bit different. But we ran it at Michigan full bore, ran it at Kentucky full bore. What did you think?
You know, it's unfortunate. I want to kind of foreshadow my off-track.
Foreshadow?
But
wow. That's nice.
I was expecting some sense.
Well, you didn't make that one up. That's a real word.
I think what we asked of our teams at Kentucky was very difficult. We heard some frustrations on some crew chiefs during practice because they went and tested for 2 days.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not the first time we've had this issue. Teams tested for several days at Charlotte. And then after the test session was done, which is very critical. These teams love tests, man. It's an advantage to go tire test somewhere. Okay, don't let anybody kid you.
Yeah.
Goodyear needs it. The teams want it. But then to change the tire after the test.
And the process is everybody works together and they kind of come to a consensus by the end of the test session as to what tire they want to go with.
Right. Well, then after you gather all this data, Goodyear needs to go and change the tire test. It essentially throws those 2 days of testing out the window, and it's a waste for the teams. It did wonders for Goodyear. Okay, the Goodyear wouldn't have changed that tire without the test.
Yeah.
Okay, that's why it's so important. So the end result of that test was Goodyear picked a tire that didn't have failures that we saw a little bit on the Xfinity side, a little bit on the truck
blistering.
side. Exactly right. So that test was very important to them. But the teams and the time and the energy and the money that they put in is essentially a wash. It's a waste. You can't take – the tire is the only piece of equipment that's touching the race car to the racetrack.
Yeah.
It's the final link. And there is so much data gathered with tires and different spring rates and traction compounds, and I can give you a list of things that's 10 deep of how important that tire is. And for that to be thrown away and go with a new tire, teams will show up
But
as if they'd never been there.
It's not that they're trying to throw you a curveball.
No.
They believe that was the best route to go to make a tire that would last and do what they needed it to do.
Absolutely right.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. That it's a Goodyear test.
Yeah.
But the teams use that data to gain advantage, and
Mm-hmm.
when then Goodyear changes the tire, it's just a complete wash for the teams.
Right. Okay. So overall, tire issues aside, what do you think about the direction that we're going with this package? Because this is what they're talking about using full-time next year.
Yeah, no, it shows everything about the new low downforce package, L2. Let's just call it L2.
Okay, all right, I'm
L2.
with you. Yeah.
Everything is good in that direction. Everything about it. The cars drive. First of all, we can get around the track, right? They're not like completely unbalanced. We don't have a car that's really nose heavy or really tail heavy, so they're very well balanced.
Yeah.
We've seen the ability, and we saw it in Kentucky, even though the track was officially one lane, we saw cars that could get under other cars and pass.
Yeah.
We saw the instability that we appreciate as race fans to make sure for a while there, these cars were so easy to drive, you sat at home going, I could do that. They never spun out. They never spun out, right? But you think that.
Yes.
Now we see guys like, let's say 6-time Jimmy Johnson. He wrecked.
Yes, he did. A lot of people wrecked in this
Okay,
race.
my point is that that's the best guy on our track right now is Jimmy Johnson. He took this package and wrecked with it. We like that as fans. We want to see a car. Wow, that cars can wreck. For the longest time, we saw the COT car. We'd get sideways, and it would just straighten itself out because it had this wing and these spoilers and everything was going on. We saw Kyle Busch get loose off of 2 and the in-car camera of what it took to save these cars. We never saw that in the past. So all 110% of the direction that this gives us, the low spoilers and everything else, is going in the right direction. I think if we hear a driver in a little bit talk about the direction, we still have a little ways to go so that the teams can still create more drivability or less drivability, depending on how you word it.
Yeah.
But it'll make it harder to drive. And the harder the cars are to drive, the better the racing.
Because it allows the driver to show his skill set more than just relying on the car being on a rail.
That's exactly right. When you take your family out to a local go-kart track and all the cars go the same speed and you ride around wide open, it doesn't matter whether you're 12 years old or 15 years old. You just kind of race around together. That's not
you
racing.
can't do anything.
You can't do anything. Now it's a matter of being off throttle. And we saw this weekend the difference between the Xfinity cars and the Cup cars. Do you know the Xfinity car would win the race?
Really?
Yes. The Xfinity car, because of the downforce, generated 10 to 12 car lengths. We were able to overlay video from the Cup Series to the Xfinity Series. In a lap, the Xfinity car was 10 car lengths ahead of the Cup race.
Wow,
the Cup
that's pretty
car,
impressive.
because of the downforce. We're talking almost 200 horsepower difference. The Cup car has the advantage.
Right.
But he's off the throttle so much longer that the advantage that the Xfinity car had was in the corners. He's just wide open, just running around wide open. And that's why we see a lot less passing in the Xfinity Series versus the Cup Series. The Cup cars put on a better show, in my opinion, because you saw more passing.
Right, and guys have to lift to gather the car back up and make sure they don't run it into the wall or any of these things. Also, you mentioned as well that the Xfinity car has been the same for the past few years, so those guys have been working to make that particular car better and better and better. This year, the Sprint Cup Series has a new package while you're working on next year's package for a couple of races along the way, which throws some curveballs into the system.
Yeah, Brad actually said during one of his media availabilities he would like to see another race before the chase, not necessarily mix up the chase races, but another race before the chase now that the teams have this package. We ran it at Michigan, kind of a unique track. We ran it at Kentucky. It's unique because it was a repave that we could actually go to a track that was consistent, and we're going to go back there again next year. In other words, a Kansas or a Texas or something that the track hasn't changed, the tire hasn't changed, and we're just going to go there with a different package, and that gives the teams a little bit better direction. Looking forward to 2017.
Are we ever going to get back to the days when we used to finish 40 wide at the stripe on fire and backwards every single week?
Absolutely.
You think?
Yeah. Once, we're going to get back to when we used to start 68 cars. Yeah, no, we're never going to get that. The problem is like you and I kid about, it never happened. And the racing is, if Dale Jr. was the only car on the track, it would be the best race ever. Okay, just by himself.
Okay,
Whatever. And I get it. I understand that.
Some
man.
people believe that.
His legion of fans is fantastic. But realistically, the direction that we're going with this low downforce package allows guys to get squirrely, still tuck up behind somebody and get them loose without touching them. We saw that 2 or 3 different times, more than that. And the cars are simply a handful to drive. the best thing, it's funny about Brad, we sat in victory lane. He's talking about how great everything is. During the race, it wasn't so great.
Yeah.
This thing drives like a bucket of like a grocery cart. It's terrible.
Guys said the same thing at Michigan.
Yes, and that's what you're looking forward to. Simply to create the environment where these things don't need to be easy to drive. But in the race car, when they strap their helmets on, they all become professionals. The better driver always rises to the top.
Yeah. Hey, we want to remind folks for NASCAR Live this week, Joey Logano is going to be the special guest. If you're watching this on a Monday, you can call in at 6:45 Eastern Time on Monday to chat with Joey Logano. He's going to be our guest. That'll air on Tuesday night at 7 Eastern Time. So you want to make a note of that if you'd like to chat with Joey Logano. The show once again airs at 7 o'clock live on Motor Racing Network stations around the country. Mike Bagley will be hosting. Kyle Rickey will conduct the interview with Joey Logano, but they will be taking your calls. That comes up 6:45 Eastern Time on a Monday. Also, if you want to play along with us on Twitter, mine is at WY Kane. His is at 2Spotter, the number 2Spotter. Just use that hashtag AskMRN. If you want to use at MRN Radio, that's fine, but use that hashtag so we can find your question if you want to play along with us as well. Also, don't forget about our fan forum hotline, 844-4AskMRN. If you have a question about today's show, any of the drivers you'd like to ask a question to, anything going on in the world of racing, leave it there. We'll get the message and try and address your question. And if it's a Joey Meyer caliber question, we might use it on the air along the way. Now, looking forward from here, we go back to what we've had primarily for the rest of this season, the I guess, low or L1 downforce package that we're going to use for the rest.
Sense.
Well, now
Everybody
we're trying
knows.
to debate how
L1.
to talk about it, how to describe
L1.
it so everyone knows what you're talking
There
about.
you go, L1.
Right. We go back to that for the remainder of the season. Yep. We've still got Super Speedway race coming up. We've still got road course
courses,
coming up. We've still got short tracks coming up. All that to get us toward the season finale, or the chase, if you will, the final 10 races. Do we know enough about that particular package to give us an idea of what we're going to see? I know that these two races we talked about at Kentucky and Michigan were a little bit of unknown in the All-Star race, if you want to go there, even though that was a little bit different. Are we comfortable with this package that we have now?
No, the teams have definitely had enough seat time. That's jargon, race team jargon.
Nice.
Seat time.
I like the way you work that in.
But they've had enough seat time for the L1 package to feel confident moving forward, to be competitive, and we have a good direction. Goodyear has the tire set for that package. We won't have any issues. People don't realize that we changed the tire at Kentucky from the Cup Series to the Xfinity truck at the last minute, like 2 weeks before the race. So there was a lot of late maneuvering around for the Cup guys. We don't have to worry about any of that for the rest of the year. We do have a couple of tests. We're going to go test Watkins Glen. That was a newly paved track. But because it's a road course, we don't expect to have any tire issues there because the speeds are a little bit slower.
Yeah.
We just expect some different grip levels. That we are going to go there with a Goodyear test the 2 weeks from now. I believe there's a whole bunch of teams going. There's a team now testing at Indy this week. So there's still a lot of testing going on, preparing with the L1 package. I love L1. That's awesome.
You like
Whose
that?
idea was that?
I don't know. It's pretty good.
Yeah.
But you mentioned the Indy test. Keep in mind, last time when we were at Indy, we had a completely different package from what we've got now, or what we're going to have next year, the high drag package. How do you feel about what we're going to see at Indy coming up in a couple of weeks?
We've seen enough tracks. We've gone to Pocono, which is a similar track, at least one corner for Indy with our current package, that I think it will transfer directly to Indy. Teams that run well at Pocono tend to run good at Indy, and then Indy, the next Pocono race. So all those three cars tend to run a similar setup, a similar tire, similar speeds, especially into the one corner, which was designed directly after Indy. They did a good job there. So I expect, again, no issues. The guys that are good there can run good at Indy and vice versa.
All right. Just as an aside now, we've been talking Cup primarily, but there was a truck race way back on Thursday. And William Byron does it again. He's putting together a spectacular season.
Yeah, I really thought I was fortunate enough to spot for the 19 truck with Daniel Hemrick. We run second and third towards the end of the race. I had a great battle with Joe Nemechek's son, John Hunter. William Byron was sitting back there watching us race side by side going, you guys keep racing back there. I'm going to be up here racing this for a lead.
Yeah.
And really thought we had a good chance to win with Daniel in the 19 truck, but it was a good top three podium finish, as we'll call it. William Byron, again, man, KBM was putting on, and again, if you're in a Toyota right now, that's the manufacturer as a whole, all three series. I know we've won 2 in a row with the Blue Oval, But as a manufacturer, you're wrapping your arms around Toyota. They have a stranglehold on all 3 series with their performances. And those are the guys, when you beat them, you feel really good. But if not, they're beating you on a consistent basis. He's got an amazing set of drivers with Daniel Suarez. And, we've got Christopher Bell, and we got, William Byron. And, I mean, all those guys are just running really, really good.
Yeah, they are. We'll take a quick time out here on Motorsports Monday, but as we go, here's what the end of the truck race and William Byron sounded like on Thursday way back when at Kentucky Speedway.
It's going to be Byron protected the low side. Nemechek wound up, full head of steam. Back down to the turn number 3 and 4. Byron protected the bottom side. Nemechek can't do anything with him. Byron sets sail off turn 4.
For the final time this evening, here comes William Byron. It'll be the 4th career victory for the rookie driver and a record-setting 51st career win for Kyle Busch Motorsports, now the winningest organization in the history of the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series.
With the new surface, it's hard to get a tire to last that long, and I had quite the vibration the last 3 or 4 laps, so I was just hoping and praying that there would be no cautions and everything like that, and we just a great run for us. Our Liberty University Tundra was really good tonight, and we were able to stay out front that last run, and that was the key.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
Whatever you drive, wherever you go, Hercules Tires will get you there, whether you're running on dirt or running a job. Our dependable, high-quality tires are the perfect fit for your needs. For unmatched value, selection, and warranty with industry-leading road hazard protection, there's only one choice: Hercules Tires. To learn more, visit HerculesTire.com or call 800-677-9535. Hercules Tires, right on our strength.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. 1 per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
Business is a lot like racing. It takes a strong team of pros to succeed. That's why Freightliner Trucks created TeamRunSmart.com, a free online community that connects owner-operators with the trucking industry's A-team. The Team Run Smart pros and coaches help maximize your profitability with real-world advice on everything from fuel-efficient specking to healthy eating to filing taxes. Sign up today to earn rewards and connect with fellow truckers at TeamRunSmart.com.
Hey, I'm Joey Logano. Now back to Joey Meyer and Woody Kane on Motorsports Monday. How does Joey Meyer have a radio show?
No, I didn't expect him to be happy, but you can't pass on pit road. So, if you do pass on pit road, it specifically says it has to be to the right when somebody's peeling off into their box. So, without getting too deep into it, I didn't expect for him to be happy, but can't pass cars on pit road.
There you go. NASCAR Senior Vice President of Competition Scott Miller again talking about Cole Pearn not being happy, who's Martin Truex Jr.'s crew chief, with him making a pass on pit road, which you can do in some circumstances when the car is coming into its pit box. But explain what happened there.
Okay, so when we come down pit road, we're all supposed to be single file, and we are, for the most part, single file. As you peel to the left to get to your pit box, based on the timing lines that you're going to cross getting into your pit box, some pit stalls allow you to accelerate into that pit stall before slowing down. Well, if you accelerate and the car in front of you doesn't, you're going to get beside him, most likely before you get to your pit box.
Right, and it's because there's an average. If you have 2 lines, it's not your speed at any one time. It's the average of the whole section.
Right. We don't have speedometers in our cars. It's simply a timed distance, literally by a computer. Okay. The difference that Martin Truex did, which we don't see very often, he is correct. He's been pulled alongside of.
And he's not the only one.
No,
right.
But his timing line was he utilized it so well that he actually, the nose of his car passed the 4 car's nose. Okay? Not that he just pulled up and gained a car length. He drove by, and that's the difference. That's where he got in trouble. If he was braking the side back plane, if he was doing this, okay, and never got to the nose to brake the nose plane, they wouldn't have called it. But it was so bad that he drove by and physically passed the 4 car.
Okay.
You can make up some room passing. In other words, on the track, this isn't a pass.
All right.
This is a pass.
You
right?
won't be scored ahead of that guy until you're in front of him. Okay.
That's where the issue is. Now, leaving the pit box, pit teams, pit crews choose their pit stall to take advantage of these timing lines. Every team does it. The better you qualify, the better your timing line advantage can be. Having an opening out or an opening in where no car is in front or behind you is important as well. So those two things decide on where you take your pit stall. When you leave and you're pulling out of your pit box, you can now pass somebody because you're getting up to speed, and that's allowed.
They may be slowing down or
That's
whatever.
exactly right. That's allowed. But coming into your pit box is where it clearly says you cannot pass on pit road. And that's the difference. That's this small difference. Truex is correct. Colpern they are correct in saying it's happened to them. But breaking the nose, the timing lines on pit road are such that we don't see it very well. Very often. Martin Truex Jr. did an amazing job of accelerating exactly at the right time, past the 4 car, slowed down quick enough to get into his box without sliding through. And those are the things that drivers deal with every race. We have pit road
Every
speeds.
little advantage you
Every
can try
little
and gain.
advantage.
Yeah.
Because you essentially picked up a car length on pit road. That's a measurable time. So that if he picked up the car length and had the exact same pit time that the 4 car did, you saw he came out in front, and it was exactly right. And that's what NASCAR, there's a penalty for it. There's a rule for it. They enforced it. Kudos to them. They'll reinforce the rule. We've already heard some senior vice presidents today talking about we will reinforce so that the understanding is you can't pass on pit road.
Right, to make that abundantly clear to everyone with a question about it.
Yes.
Okay, let's talk a little bit of on-track, off-track action. For those of you new to the program, this is where we discuss some things going well in the sport and some things that we think maybe aren't going quite so well. Let's start on the positive side, on-track. What's going well for you besides this trophy sitting right now?
Well, that's exactly what my on-track is.
What?
Because, 2 weeks ago at Sears Point, we saw Tony Stewart break a 86-race winless streak. The last time he won, he just won, and he didn't know it was going to be the last time for 86 races. So the ability for us to capitalize 2 weeks in a row, it's an exhilarating feeling as a racer because we all race for different reasons at different tracks, but the end result is a trophy. That's what we race about. So nothing gets better. My on-track, I had a fantastic weekend spotting Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, but to be able to finish the weekend with a win, to bring My Little Pony to work. Why the
Little Pony? Yeah, I get it. Why the long face?
Why the long face?
Yeah,
why the long face?
I got you. Yeah,
but it's a fantastic event for our race team. You tend to relish it because you never know. There's a chance, okay? I don't think so, but there's a chance it might be our last one. Right. So kudos to the 2 team, Paul Wolf and Brad Keselowski. You guys did an amazing job. I was glad to participate in it. And I've been saying something on Twitter a little bit. Everybody's like, oh, you were a big part of it. Nobody's stronger than anybody else. We are all one chain. I'm just a link in that chain. I really feel fortunate to be a link because without me or without the driver or the crew chief or the pit crew or the guys in the shop, whatever they are, we're all just a bunch of links. And we were able to drag our bicycle to victory lane to get a trophy.
I think that's underestimated in this sport in particular. In football or basketball, obviously it's very team-oriented because all those players are on the playing surface at the same time. In racing so much, it's almost like the quarterback in the NFL. He gets a lot of the credit and a lot of the blame when things go right or wrong. But I think it's the team aspect of it is very underestimated.
Yeah, NASCAR is a team sport, man. It's the way it's been. And there are a lot of good guys that don't get a chance to get on good teams and have good drivers and good cars, but they're individually good guys. I mean, we got 40 of the best guys sitting on the roof spotting these cars. Any one of them could have taken my place, and there's a good chance we still would have won the race. But it's still the fact that you have to be good at what you do. Brad has to be good at what he does. Paul has to be good at the car. It's still a total team effort, and I'm just a small link, and I really appreciate the opportunity to participate. When we win, it's great. So it doesn't get any better than that for me.
So you're saying had you at one point during the race gone, oh, sorry, Brad, didn't see that guy, you might not have won?
Well, that's exactly right.
I'm driving, I got
exactly
a guy on the radio who talks to me. I can't see him, but he talks to me.
There you go.
There you go. Little Days of Thunder, guys.
There you
That's
go.
absolutely right.
Fantastic. You can hold it. That's what they say. All right, for me, on track is what we've been talking about the first part of the show, the new even lower downforce package, the L2 package, if you will, the little tiny spoiler, making these cars harder to drive. Say what you will about getting clean air on the nose. Brad Keselowski even said in one of his post-race interviews, we still battle that, and I think that's a physics thing that we'll battle from now until the end of time. You're
Sure.
never going to completely solve that. But what this package does is it makes it so more of the game is in the driver's hands as opposed to just holding the car to the floor, everybody running at the same speed, particularly in the corners, and you can't do anything. Now the drivers are able to show their skill a little bit more. When you get up to a car, you're not stuck as if you're on a rail or behind a wall or something like that. You can really make something happen. And don't get me wrong, I have no illusions that this is exactly the package we're going to have. There may be and probably will be some tweaks along the way to try and make it even better. A lot of guys are talking about side force and things like that along the way, but right now the direction that they're heading is putting more of it back in the driver's hands, and I think it's fantastic. The evolution, just think 2 years ago, what were we talking about? You can't do anything. You can't pass anybody. And now you're seeing it more and more and more. Getting back to those days that we like to reminisce about in our rose-colored glasses where everybody was 40 wide at the stripe every week.
You know, we if we go to our center shot here, go to the center shot just for a second, guys.
Boy.
Go to the center shot here.
What?
These cars have air bubbles around them, okay? And that bubble protects that race car as long as you're leading.
Sort of like a force field in Star Trek.
Exactly right. It is a force field. So now what we're doing is we're taking these cars and we're making this bubble, this force field, smaller and smaller and smaller, which allows other cars to get closer and closer and closer. And that's what racing's about. You're trying to get to the car closer to you in front of you. If you're the leader, you're not as protected. It used to be take 2 tires, take no cars. Just get out in front. These guys can't pass you because your force field, your bubble was so big. Now we're making that area smaller and smaller and smaller. The smaller spoilers, the smaller radiator pans, the different rules on the sides. It's simply going to allow cars to get closer and closer, and we do that, and it creates better racing.
Absolutely. Okay, let's talk a little now off track. What's not going so well in your opinion?
One of the things we did is we used 2 races this year to evaluate the new L2 package. I really love L2.
Do you? Is that what you're sticking with?
My
Okay.
L2.
All right.
The new L2 package was chosen at Michigan and Kentucky. Then we repaved Kentucky. Then we added a new tire at Kentucky. There were too many variables to give the L2 package a really good grade. And I wish we could have had the foresight to see that we were going to have too many variables. So the minute Kentucky asked for a repave, we should have changed our L2 package direction to another constant, whether it be Texas or Kansas or just another mile and a half. We even had Charlotte we could have done it at. I wish we would have given the L2 package a better opportunity to shine for 2017.
At a track that'll be the same next year.
Exactly right. A repaved track is simply such a new variable, it's not a constant from last year. We saw 4 wide last year at Kentucky, high against the wall, low on the apron. There was nowhere near that this year, and that's common with repaves. It'll get there. New variable banking in turns 1 and 2 will allow that track to open up a little bit quicker, but repaves simply take a longer time to get the racing better. I don't think we gave the L2 pack. L2. I love L2. Simply gave the L2 package a good opportunity to shine and give teams an evaluation, because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to evaluate the program for 2017, and I don't think we gave it a really good, honest opportunity to do that.
You're not sure if some of the data you're getting is because of the repave or because of the package itself.
Exactly right. In other words, the cars were extremely hard to drive. Is that the track or the L2 package?
Right.
You know, that's what that.
Hey, there you go.
So that's all I'm saying. We want to be able to evaluate. When you're trying to evaluate something, you want to be able to hone in and go, this was better or this was not. And I think we've added some discrepancy on whether it was the track issue or the package issue. But I believe, again, I think we're going to see more direction with the smaller spoiler, less side downforce, and the radiator package. That was a good direction. I'm not saying it hurt it, but it didn't give us great information.
All right. Along those lines, before I get to my off track, let's hear from Scott Miller one more time, the Senior Vice President of Competition at NASCAR, about the future of this package, or the L2 package.
After tonight, we'll go back and we'll sort of reconvene with the drivers and the owners and the OEMs and decide, where we're going. And we're open to a lot of different options, and if something like that bubbles up and we have industry support for it, nothing right now is out of the question. One thing that I think that we won't do is change the chase around. We'll stick to our guns and run the 2016 regular 2016 package in the chase races, and all of this has been geared toward deciding what we're going to do for 2017 and getting it decided as early as we possibly can, which gives the teams the most runway into next season, which is something that they've needed and been asking for. So that's what we're striving toward.
If he'd have said L1, you'd have known what he meant.
Yes, you would. Okay. You should send him a note right now. We've changed it.
Get
It's L1, L2 now to go forward. There you go. There's the word of the day again, L2.
Scott Miller, please.
Yeah. Yeah. You be on hold for the rest of the show. As we look forward now, let me do my on-track or off-track, rather, before we get too far along, because so many people I saw on Twitter in particular. I was stuck in an airport and was kind of following along on Twitter. So many people, oh, I hate these fuel mileage races. They're so boring. What race were you watching? The fuel mileage races, to me, add an extra element of strategy. And as you said, it wasn't the intent for it to be that way. At some tracks, you kind of know that might happen. That wasn't the case here. The drama was who's going to gamble and try to make it, who is going to make it, who's going to run out of fuel. And that, to me, added an extra element of drama that I thought was spectacular for this race.
Every road course you watch on TV for any series they race, it starts the race as a fuel mileage race. It's the way it goes. Every team starts the race knowing how many laps we can run on fuel. We run the race backwards. I'm not going to explain it, but we start at the end. We come backwards. That's when we pit. Every road course race is a fuel mileage race, period. They're some of the best racing we have.
Yeah.
So you're correct in saying that argument. That was the most intriguing to see what cars were fast, what cars could make it. There were cars with 50 laps to go shutting their motors off at the start-finish line because they said,
saving.
I'm running 15th. This is my only shot to try to get My Little Pony. Okay?
I don't think anybody called it that during the race, but I get your point. And for the third time this season, Joey Meyer has agreed with me. Okay, we got to take a timeout. When we come back, we'll talk Xfinity Series racing. Brennan Poole will join us. Stick around.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
If you need a ready-mix truck with an excellent product support network, look no further than Houseby Mixer Systems. We offer superior performance and reliability. Houseby works with your local truck dealer for immediate product support for the ready-mix trucks, parts, and service. We can also offer direct sales. It's your choice. We also carry an inventory of ready-to-work mixer trucks. Visit Houseby.com for more information.
Hi, I'm Marty Huff. Join me and 10-time NHRA national event winner Doug Herbert for 1 hour of horsepower Thursdays at noon on the Straight Line. We'll talk to the biggest names in NHRA drag racing and keep you up to date with news from the pits, tracks, and shops across the country. Join us Thursdays at noon for the Straight Line, streaming live on the MRN app, the Motor Racing Network's YouTube channel, and on MRN.com.
It's all over at Martinsville, Virginia. Richard Petty has pulled it off.
Throwback Thursday. Classic MRN race broadcasts on MRN.com.
Waltrip will win the track race to turn 3. Earnhardt gets him. Hard into the wall goes Waltrip. Hard goes Earnhardt. Everybody else spins either way.
Out of the number 4 corner down to the line. Neil Bonnet is going to win. The Northwestern Bank 400. He'll beat Waltrip a 2-car length.
What a finish here at North Wilkesboro.
Throwback Thursday. Thursdays at 1 Eastern on MRN.com.
Hey, I'm Ryan Newman. Now back to Joey Meyer and Woody Kane on Motorsports Monday.
Back to the program. Here we are on Motorsports Monday talking about the weekend that was at Kentucky and looking ahead. The new L2 downforce package. The trophy is here. A lot more to get to on the program. But let's talk some Xfinity Series racing now because the driver of the number 48 DC Solar Chevy Camaro from Chip Ganassi Racing joins us on the program. Brennan, welcome back, man. Congratulations on the solid season you guys are putting together right now. Another top 10 at Kentucky this time.
Well, thank you so much, and it's awesome to be back on here talking to you guys. I know I run into you every once in a while on the track at the racetrack and say hey, but cool to be back on here and talking with you guys.
I saw where you described your race at Kentucky this past weekend as a blue-collar night. What do you mean by that?
Yeah, we had to work all night, you know. It was one of those nights where nothing came easy, you know, and we had to put the work in, and I'm proud of my DC Solar team. Everybody put the work in, and at the end, we were right there battling for a top 10 spot. I thought we were going to be able to get more in that final restart, but, man, they went 4 wide in front of me. The craziest thing I've ever seen. Guys were bouncing off each other down into Turn 1. Brad and Blaney, it was nuts, and I had nowhere to go. So I tried to stick it in there, and I got Brad coming to the line and wound up getting 9th. But all in all, it was a good night. Wish we could have got up there a little bit sooner and battled hard, but we just kept working on our race car and chipped away at it and finally got us where we were in contention there at the end to maybe make something happen. And wound up getting a top 10, so I'm proud of all my guys.
You know, Brennan, one of the things that gets overlooked when we show up to a racetrack and we hear, oh, Goodyear brought a different tire, and some of the people go, okay, you just take the 5 lug nuts off and stick this new tire on and put the other lug nuts on and torque them to spec and
What's
put
the big
air
deal?
in them. What's the big deal?
Yeah.
Give us an idea how much scrambling behind the scenes actually occurs when Goodyear says, you guys have a new tire.
Well, everyone's always really concerned, especially going to a repave, because the corner speeds are so fast that the pressure and the heat that's built up in these tires is crazy, and you start having tire issues. And Goodyear brought us a good tire. For me, I felt like I could feel the track really good. I thought the racing was great. We were having some tire issues, and we weren't sure how long we'd be able to make it, if we could make it a full fuel run. So throughout the race, I mean, a lot of guys were being conservative and we were saving. And for us, we actually put some drivability in our car, and we kind of lost some speed, but we were concerned about the tires, and we wanted to make sure that we could run a whole fuel run and kind of maybe open some options up for us as the race went on. And we didn't qualify well because we took some of that speed away, and it was really difficult to pass because everyone on this was so fast and we're all running the same speed. So looking back on how well the tire was and how good it held up, I don't know if we would have done that the next go around. So I think we learned some stuff too, because that's our first chase race for the Xfinity Series. So I'm looking forward to all the stuff that we learned to go back. But it's tough because you're trying to make the best decision. And you want to conserve those tires. They're everything, and like I said, you're just trying to make the best decision possible. And we went with what we thought was the best. Gave up some speed. Looking back on it, I don't know if we would have done that, but it certainly is kind of nerve-wracking when you're just unsure what's going to happen. And you know what, our guys, everyone did a great job. Goodyear did a great job with this tire, and we ended up having a great race for all the fans.
Chatting with Brennan Poole, who drives the number 48 DC Solar Camaro for Chip Ganassi Racing. And Brennan, we're roughly the halfway point of the season now. Give folks an idea of where you think your team is in terms of what are you doing well and what do you still need to improve on some?
Well, I feel like we've eliminated a lot of those little mistakes we had in the beginning of the year, and we've really been able to click off a lot of top 10s through this last run of races. And so that's got me really excited and got our team really excited. And I feel like if we just continue to do all the fundamental things right and not have mistakes on pit road, I can make good decisions on the racetrack. I can do better on my restarts, which I've been a lot better at. So I'm proud of my restarts and how much I've grown there and how much I've grown on my green flag pit stops. Coming to pit road and leaving pit road on those green flag stops is everything. And it actually helped me this past weekend at Kentucky get back on the lead lap and contend for a top 10 finish, which we got. So all the little things add up, and it seems like we're able to do all those little things really well, and we're continuing to put ourselves in a position to get top 10. So I feel like if we can just continue to work on our race cars, and try to find a little bit more speed and a little bit more consistency with the speed in the cars that we bring to the track, that, when that chase starts, if we can be hitting our stride then, we've seen it a lot in the Cup Series. If you can hit your stride when that chase starts, you can be a real threat. So I feel like, we're learning and we're trying to figure everything out that we need to best prepare ourselves for when that chase starts. And we want to be hitting our stride at Kentucky when it starts the second go around. So I feel like we just got to keep working hard. We've been getting a little bit more consistent. We've been having a little bit more speed in our race cars. We just got to keep working hard.
A lot of times we mention things on the show that our fans don't understand because it seems so simple. And I'm going to ask you to expand on saying your restarts have changed or getting to pit road because as a fan on TV, it's simple. The green flag comes out, you stay on the accelerator, you get to the gears, and you restart.
No, it's simple, all right. That's why we had all those arguments about it earlier, right?
Coming to pit road, you pull off the track, you're only going 180, 90 miles an hour. You come to pit road, there's a line there. You start your pit road speed, you run it all the way down to your box, and you leave your – how difficult is it? What have you done to do different and be better? And exactly where do guys beat you on and off pit road or restarts?
On my pit road stuff, we actually have dartfish for for getting on and getting off pit road, which I've studied a lot of that. So basically, there's a ghost car, and I watch a lot of Kyle Busch versus me, so I see where he whoops me most often. But so I watch his car overlaid over my car as I'm coming into turn 3 and 4 and onto pit road, and I can kind of see where he made up time versus me. And so I look at that. So I try to kind of figure out maybe what mark he used for when he slows down for pit road or whatever. And so I kind of carry that in, week to week and try to, use that to get on the pit road faster. And I sort of do the same thing for leaving pit road as well. I can see when I pull out of my box and when he pulls out of his box and when we're lined up on pit road, like a ghost car, the same thing. And then when we get to the end of pit road, I can see, what he kind of did on the apron of the racetrack, getting up to speed in 1 and 2. And I can kind of, use that to position myself a little bit better, because all the aprons of these racetracks have different grip in different areas. And sometimes it's better to take like really tight, close against the inside wall or grass or whatever around there. There's more grip there. Sometimes it's right out by the racetrack. And so I'm just trying to figure out, where I need to be and how hard I can push around the corners. Maybe I'm in the right spot, but I'm just not driving the car hard enough. And so I look at that and try to just bridge that gap. And at the beginning of the year, I was about a second off. I was losing about a second on my green flag stops, and I've narrowed it down now to about 0.3 to 0.2 versus the best. So I feel like I've made big gains there. I'm still trying to get that extra 3 to 0.2 back, but it's tough. And then on restarts, on the repave this past weekend, it was a little bit easier to get going because the track has so much grip. So spinning the tires wasn't as big of an issue, but as it is timing. So you want to time it so when you're getting to 1 and 2, that you can have a run off that corner, especially with these Xfinity cars with all the momentum you have to make moves to pass people. So you want to get rolling good on the restart. You don't want to spin tires or anything. You want to make sure you're up close and tight so you can make a move, but you also want to be building your momentum up and timing that so that way you can make a pass or make something happen or be in the right line and make a good decision to go below somebody or go to the top or go to above somebody and build that momentum for off of turn 2. And let me tell you, it is very, very difficult to time that out just
well,
right.
It's not a line, though. I mean, the guy can start anywhere within that zone that he wants to, and you don't know where that may be on one lap to the next.
No, I've worked with my spotter as well a lot on timing it, to the box. I like to know when we're 10 away to the box, 5 away to the box, when they're getting there, and I'm trying to look ahead. It's really hard to see with these cars. When you're behind someone, you really can't see up ahead of you. So, yeah, I'm just trying to work on that timing. And Tyler Green's my spotter. He's been doing a great job for me and really helping me out a bunch on these restarts. And we've made the difference at a lot of these racetracks on getting some good finishes just on restarts.
Chatting with Brennan Poole, the driver of the number 48 DC Solar Chevrolet Camaro at Chip Ganassi Racing. Next up, Brennan, we head to New Hampshire. That track a little bit flatter, a little bit harder to get a handle on. What do you thinking you're going to be looking for there?
The biggest thing is rear grip. It's just tough to get off of these corners at New Hampshire. And you got to, and it's a tough balance, right? Because you want to be able to turn the center good because the corners are so flat. There's no banking. It's really tough to turn the middle. But when you have a car that's free enough, or maybe turning the middle good like you want, it's really hard to have that forward drive. So it's all about finding a balance, being able to get through the center of the corner, good, but also have forward drive so you can pass people, drive up underneath them, get that momentum over the guy in front of you off the corner. And that's always a challenge when you go to New Hampshire, because as you run, the tighter you get in the middle, you got more wheel in it, which makes the car freer on exit. And it's just tough to get that balance. It's just I tell everybody it's a giant science experiment every week, and we're all just trying to find the best combination. And so hopefully we can get the combination right with our DC Solar Camaro and get this thing up front and battle for a win up there.
I know you're a rookie, but is there any place you can compare New Hampshire to? Anything that's close to Loudon?
Man, it's tough to compare Loudon to another track because it's just so unique and different, and long straightaways and flat corners. But if I had to compare it to another place that maybe I've been to in my career, is racetrack in North Carolina up there, Tri-County. It's got kind of these long corners, and it's really flat, and you can kind of you got to run the bottom there. But it just kind of reminds me of the corners. Remind me a lot of New Hampshire. The straightaways are a lot shorter, but so you kind of have to. I like to use little things that I've learned over the years racing at all the different racetracks that I've been able to go to, and try to use that same things that I've learned to carry over. And to me, those corners are like Tri-County, man. Just reminds me of the old late model racing up there. Back when I was younger. It certainly is a lot of fun, and I think that's what makes New Hampshire fun to race at, because of those corners are long and flat, and it's tough, and it puts on good racing, side-by-side stuff, balance. It's one of my favorite Cup races to watch of the year, and I'm looking forward to being part of an awesome Xfinity race down there. Up there. It's north.
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. If it was easy, everybody would be doing it, right?
Absolutely. It is tough. It's tricky. But, hey, Jeff Burton took me around there last year in a pace car, and he showed me some stuff, and he's been known to be the man over there, over the years, and he helped me get a top 10 last year. So hopefully we can go do much of the same this year.
All right, that's fantastic. Brennan, congratulations on the way your season's going right now. Another top 10 finish, solidly in 8th in the standings right now as a rookie. 12 teams, 12 drivers will make the chase in the Xfinity Series this year. You guys are right in the thick of that battle, and we appreciate your time and wish you continued success.
Thank you. Thanks for having me on. It's a lot of fun talking to you guys.
Good job, Brennan.
There you go. Brennan Poole. Watch for him in the number 48 DC Solar Chevrolet Camaro from Chip Ganassi Racing. One more time out. Oh, wait, what?
Yeah, what I was going to say is
just in.
Yeah, one of his sponsors has a unique involvement around the NASCAR tracks. We blow up generators, man. We have generators hooked to generators.
Mm-hmm.
Like, we have tons of generators running. We have generators powering lights, powering tools, powering cars. DC Solar provides some equipment that's solar powered with batteries to provide a lot of our intersections with the lights.
Mm-hmm.
We have generators now that are quiet in their garage.
Yeah,
it's amazing the involvement. We don't see a lot of our sponsors directly involved. They give us Cokes or waters, which we get if we're a sponsor with Coke. But the DC Solar has the equipment that allows the teams to provide clean energy for the cars, for these lights that we see at intersections. So it's really cool to go to the different tracks and see these devices set up by DC Solar that we normally see with hours and hours of generators running. And
yeah,
these things,
you can see them at a lot of the tracks.
Yep, the direct involvement with associated with tracks and the race team, so it's pretty cool.
There you go. So check them out. You see those solar panels around some lights. Very likely came from DC Solar. All right, one more time out here on Motorsports Monday. When we come back, we will look ahead. But first, as we leave, Daniel Suarez is on top in the Xfinity Series standings right now.
The chase begins here in September. Confident after a good run tonight, coming back here in a couple of months' time to begin the first Xfinity chase?
Yeah, very, very confident. Well, we have fast race cars everywhere we go, but being in Kentucky, I like Kentucky. I had already a couple poles here, and we've been racing very strong every time that we come here with the new asphalt, with the old asphalt, doesn't matter. We're always strong, and I like this place.
This is MRN Motorsports Monday.
In the Outback, we think the best part about racing is the noise, the engine, the pits, and a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. Especially a Kevin Harvick top 10 finish. That's because if Kevin Happy Harvick, driver of the number 4 Chevrolet, places in the top 10 in today's race, there's free bloomin' onions this Monday. So you'll have a happy bloomin' Monday. Only at Outback Steakhouse. Valid with any purchase. One per table. Participation may vary. Registered trademarks used with permission.
If you or your family love the freedom of swimming any time of year, if you love sharing good times and making great memories, or if you want one of the best total body workouts ever, then it's time to discover the 3 C's of your very own endless pool. The first C is convenience. Imagine swimming year-round in your own private swimming pool, installed indoors or out, just steps away. The second C is comfort. With sculpted spa seats and your own adjustable temperature, you can easily escape the stress of your day. And the third C is cost. Your endless pool is an affordable luxury at a fraction of the cost of a regular pool. And here's a bonus C, choice. Because when you call for your free Endless Pool Idea Kit, you'll receive information on our full line of pools to suit your budget and location.
Call now for free information. 800-283-8089. 800-283-8089.
Hey, I'm Ricky Stenhouse Jr. Now back to Joey Meyer and Woody Kane on Motorsports Monday.
There you go. You guys playing along with us on Twitter. Thanks for doing that. Briar Starr wants to remind you that he picked Brad for his fantasy team, so he wants an autograph. You going to take care of that?
As soon as I see him, we can get an autograph signed up, whatever we need to do here.
All right, there you go. And Mr. Y. Noel Bandit wants to know, with all the NBA free agency signings happening over the past week, why don't we see more talk about NASCAR driver contracts?
You know, it's interesting simply because there's not a lot of movement, because there's not a lot of team movement. In other words,
free agency is not the same.
It's not the same. These drivers drive for an owner, but even if they wanted to go somewhere else, you have to provide a spot for them, and those teams are filled. So we see a lot of longevity with drivers staying with a team as long as they're successful. The only free agency that happens is when you're not successful and you get booted.
All right, a lot of flat track racing coming up at New Hampshire Motor Speedway this weekend. Check it out at Loudon. Don't forget Joey Logano, the guest on NASCAR Live, 6:45 tonight, Monday. It'll be on at 7 o'clock Eastern Time on Tuesday. I'm Woody. He's Joey. We'll see you right back here next Monday for Motorsports Monday.
You've been listening to MRN Motorsports Monday, presented by Outback Steakhouse. Tune in again next Monday at noon Eastern for all the latest news, results, and interviews from NASCAR on MotorRacingNetwork.com. Brought to you by Hercules Tires. MRN Motorsports Monday is also available on demand at the MotorRacingNetwork.com Media Center. Or you can download it from iTunes or Stitcher. MRN Motorsports Monday is a production of the Motor Racing Network. All rights reserved.